Hello and welcome to June 8th, 2022. It's the day after an election. My name's Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, something that I do each and every day to remind myself of my life objectives and principles, and to see how I did applying these to yesterday's opportunities and challenges, and to plan for the new day. I'm surprisingly not too tired. I was working as part of the election process for this county. And as a result, I was out working until 11 p.m. and didn't get home and in bed until well after midnight, up at 5 o'clock. Same old, same old. I still managed to wake up before dawn, which is noteworthy, right? So it's not a matter, I always have trouble sleeping. And my trouble is the pre-dawn hours, before the sun comes up. I get up. My body just wakes me up before the alarm, and I typically worry about work. I woke up. I didn't have anything to worry about, but I just kind of laid there, dwelling on being, looking. I was a man looking for a challenge. I couldn't find any. I guess I did in a way. I settled on something different and interesting. If you follow my social media, I've been posting a lot about Japan, particularly about homes in Japan, and beginning to talk about the story of going back to that country after our daughter has grown and on her own. We're still, years away from that, but as always, I tend to kind of focus on something like a narrow beam, and so like for the last 5 or 7 days, I've been just focusing on that on social media. So much so to the point that anyone that would be casually observing would think that we're planning to move within the next year or 6 months even, or that we're ready to buy a house right now. And none of those things are true. We are completely focused on. Well, we are focused on this life, our current jobs, helping our daughter to finish college and get started in her life. This is just kind of this is like anticipating a good meal at a restaurant this weekend and, checking out the menu 3 or 4 days early. Here in this case, I'm 3, 4, maybe 5+ years away from retirement and doing the same thing for a new life. Shopping for a new life, I guess. What's interesting, though, is that I remember doing this exact same thing in Japan when I was planning to come back to America. And I specifically had one thing in mind. Was that we were going to come back to America, get Emily in high school, get settled here with our new life. And I didn't really dwell on too much on the details related to that, except one thing. I said I'm going to get myself a dual sport motorcycle because I wanted to keep up the adventures, the bi-weekly Sunday outings. Dual sport motorcycle and go into the desert. I didn't say what I was going to do. And I did all that, including the motorcycle in the desert. And what I did was I experienced and then wrote that book, Going Alone. So I know that this is a worthwhile endeavor. This planning and forward-looking and kind of scenario making, it kind of sets the stage for what can become a reality. Although I think I need to dial it back just a little bit. I need to remain more focused here, if anything, simply for the sake of managing impressions. Why does that matter? I guess it really doesn't. But one of the reasons I've been suspicious of social media all along is the way that we kind of curate our image to the world, what we want the world to see, selectively showing parts of ourselves, which I think we do in all circumstances, right? We do that with our coworkers at work, although sometimes they get to see a side of ourselves that like I was with coworkers last night, and that very thing happened. Just the fact and presence of being together opens doors to discussions that might never come up otherwise, and they're very humanizing discussions. social media doesn't have that component of the face-to-face, one-on-one intimacy, and as a result, it becomes more of a museum piece of sharing. I'd really like to just focus on this life of the mind that I've been cultivating for 2 years. Just a second, please. Because I left social media for, well over a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe it was longer. And I did cultivate a new life, a new routine of being more at home, spending my free time reading, studying, and not being distracted, or maybe that's the right word, not spending my time curating an image online. And I cautiously got back online, and I'm kind of back to it, back to doing that. So anyway, I think that's a challenge. Is it a good use of time? Are social media posts a good use of time? I guess they are. They help us to connect, helps us to put out what's important to us, what's challenging. There's a lot of feeling like keeping up with the Joneses, though. Even if the Joneses aren't trying to keep up with us. Okay. Yesterday's challenges. So I had a little bit of time sleeping, as I mentioned, which is interesting given that I went to bed really late. I didn't go to sleep early. At work, I was challenged a little bit to keep busy, just because yesterday I didn't have so much on the table. And I did. I found stuff. I found things to do. I found made good use of my time. Today's going to be like that as well, I think. It's a struggle sometimes to make sure that I'm well occupied. I'm also maybe just a little bit exhausted. I could use a little vacation, which I got coming up this week. 3 days off, making a nice long 5-day weekend. And then no real challenges to speak of otherwise. Although when I was yesterday at the voting center, I was very conscious and careful about what I said. I had one time that I maybe kind of, I like to tell stories and stuff, and I wish I'd been a little more quiet, maybe held my tongue a little more. Nothing bad, just superfluous stuff. Okay, here's my good life. I'm going to do the lightning round this morning because I'm not as tired as I should be, but I'm tired. 7 objectives. Number 1 is to be always ready to die. Number 2 is to make good and effective use of time. 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions. 5 is to perform good actions. 6 is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities. And 7 is to do just one thing at a time, and to do that thing slowly and deliberately, and to never ever gossip. Where did that come from? I pulled in a principle, or an element of a principle right into an objective. That's what happens when I do this fast. I get sloppy. I'm going to give myself a pass this morning. Okay, 30 principles, and I'm just going to enumerate them. War, reason, homunculus, Anchorhold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, principle of nature, pirate ride, maturity, wisdom and fortitude, the social principle, public speaking, temperance, the horror show, that which must be borne, the Feast of Offal, distraction, agency in the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the path of wildness, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the great life adventure, the season of philosophy, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough, and then finally, the principle of fun. Wow, I think that's the first time I've ever tried to do that, which is just to name them right on down the line. I usually I never allow myself to do that. I always have to think about them. That was kind of interesting. And now to plan for the day, I have a couple things I need to do. Of course, after work. I also, after work is done, I need to prepare for our vacation this weekend. Our mini trip, our trip to Vegas. Wow, it's not even just past 5:45. So I'll work hard today. I'll stay focused. I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to pull my attention away from the principle of, fun, enjoying the here and now, looking forward to the future, and then remembering the past. I'm spending a lot of time looking forward to the future of a new life in Japan, namely a retired life. That's what I really want. I really want to stop this working so I can wake up in the morning and have a day of the mind ahead of me. What a nice thing that would be. Days of the mind to come. All right, well, thank you for joining me. I'm just I just had to soak that up for just a second. Imagine what that life would be like. To not have to work, but to be able to pick through books, walk, sit and think. Especially in a place like Japan. That would be a good life. It's too much to ask? I don't know. Don't think so. Not if I'm fulfilling my duty. Okay. Take care. Be safe, but not too safe.